Welcome to our deep dive into secure attachment.
Oh, I'm excited.
We'll be looking at Raising Securely Attached Kids by Eli Harwood.
Okay.
And we're going to kind of go through and figure out what secure attachment is and
why it matters.
Why it matters and how we can use it
Yes.
in our lives.
I love this topic so much.
I do too. And one of the things that the book starts off with is that human babies are born helpless.
They are helpless. I mean,
Compared to
other animals.
Yeah, like a baby elephant can walk pretty much right after
it's
born, minutes after it's born.
Yeah. So why is that?
Well, the author talks about that as a trade-off.
Okay.
So because human babies' brains are so large and complex, they're actually born before they're fully developed.
So they need us.
They need us to help their brains finish developing.
And grow.
And the way that they do that is through those early interactions with their caregivers.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where attachment comes in.
Yeah.
So
what is that exactly?
Secure attachment is like a biological drive. And it's all about seeking closeness with our caregivers, especially when we're stressed or scared.
For comfort.
Safety, and to help us regulate our emotions.
My kids, when they were little, were afraid of men with beards.
Oh, really?
It was the funniest thing.
Intraspecific fear.
They would just cling to me and hide their faces.
Oh, that's so cute.
Until they felt safe.
So I wonder if that's like an example of that safe haven concept.
Oh, tell me about safe haven.
So a safe haven is that feeling of complete safety and understanding that you get from a caregiver.
Okay.
So it's like in that moment, your daughters felt threatened by the beard.
A beard.
And they turned to you as their safe haven. You represented safety and comfort for them.
I was their person.
Yes, you were their person. Okay, so safe haven.
And then there's also the idea of a secure base.
Oh, what's that?
So a secure base is more about exploration. So it's the confidence to go out and explore the world knowing that your caregiver is there.
If you need them.
If you need them.
Kind of like a home base.
Yes.
You go out, you do your thing, and then you come back.
Come back to that secure base.
I like that.
So the book talks about this study called The Strange Situation.
The Strange Situation.
Have you heard of that?
No.
Okay. So it's a really interesting study where researchers observed how infants react when they're separated from and then reunited with their caregivers.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah. And what they found is that there are different attachment styles.
Okay.
So secure attachment is one, but there's also avoidant attachment, resistant attachment, and disorganized attachment.
Okay.
So these different styles reflect different ways that individuals manage stress and connect with others.
So what if you didn't have a secure attachment growing up?
That's a great question.
I mean...
And a lot of people worry about that.
Yeah.
Can you still be a good parent if you didn't have the best childhood?
Right.
The book talks about earned secure attachment.
Okay.
So even if you didn't experience secure attachment as a child,
you can
still learn to provide it for your own children.
I love that.
It's about recognizing your patterns, working to heal past wounds, and developing new ways of relating.
So there's hope for all of us.
There is.
I like that.
The book also has this section called Nerd Alert.
Nerd Alert. Yeah. I love it.
I know.
I'm a nerd, so...
Me too.
And this is where Eli Harwood talks about the brain science behind attachment.
It's fascinating.
It really is.
Did you know that a baby's brain relies on their caregiver?
To function as their prefrontal cortex.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
It's incredible.
Like we literally are...
We are their prefrontal cortex.
Your brains. That's the part of the brain that handles logic, emotional regulation.
Right.
Like all the executive functions.
Yes.
That's so interesting.
It really highlights the importance of those early interactions.
So I know one of the things that a lot of parents
struggle with
is discipline.
Yeah, discipline's a big one.
Big one.
And the book talks about this too.
It does.
So she challenges the traditional emphasis on rewards and punishments, saying that they can actually be pretty limited. In what way? Well, she suggests that focusing solely on controlling behavior doesn't address the underlying needs
that are driving the behavior.
Exactly. So she advocates for shifting away from a behaviorist model and moving towards a more secure attachment framework.
And what's the difference?
So instead of trying to control kids through rewards and punishments. We're trying to understand
needs.
Yes, their needs.
Interesting.
And help them meet those needs in healthy ways.
Okay.
So it's more about collaboration and connection.
Then control.
Then control.
I mean, I find myself struggling with that sometimes.
I think a lot of parents do.
Like I'm either too strict or I'm too permissive.
Yeah, it's hard to find that balance.
It is.
But the book has some really practical tips.
Okay, good.
Like, for example, with infants,
Yeah.
she talks about the importance of responding to their cries consistently.
And when they're little, it's not even about like trying to get them to stop crying.
No, it's about letting them know that you hear them.
You see them.
You see them.
You're there.
And you're there for them.
That makes sense.
So it's about building that trust and security from the very beginning.
So then as they get older, what do we do?
Well, when they transition into toddlerhood, it becomes more about helping them understand and express their emotions in healthy ways.
That sounds hard.
It can be, but it's so important. We want to validate their feelings while also setting clear boundaries. So it's like teaching them the language of emotions and providing them with a safe space to practice.
Practice their emotions.
Yeah.
But
And then as they move into middle school,
yeah.
curiosity becomes really important. Asking open-ended questions, trying to understand their perspective.
Their world.
Their world, yeah.
That makes sense.
Because middle school is tough.
It is.
So they need our empathy and guidance.
Even more.
Even more during that time.
And then high school.
Oh, high
So
school.
my oldest is about to go into high school.
It's a big transition.
What do I do?
So in high school, it's really about finding that balance
Between what?
between offering guidance and respecting their growing autonomy. So we want them to know that we trust them to make their own choices, but we're still there to support them.
If they fall.
If they fall.
I like that.
So it's a gradual shift from being more directive to being more of a mentor.
Oh, that's interesting.
And this all ties back to that idea of a secure base that we were talking about earlier. So when they have that secure base, they feel more confident to go out and explore the world, knowing that they have a safe place to come back to.
And we're there.
And you're there.
Okay.
The book also delves into a really important topic, generational trauma. And the author uses a really powerful metaphor.
What's that?
She describes it as ghosts.
Ghosts.
Residing in our nervous systems.
What does she mean?
So these ghosts represent the unhealed wounds.
From our past.
From our past that we carry with us.
Like baggage.
Like baggage.
Okay.
And without even realizing it, these ghosts can influence our parenting.
Interesting.
Yeah. So she emphasizes that healing our own trauma
is important.
Is crucial.
Why?
Because it's essential for breaking those cycles of insecurity.
So it's
not about blaming our parents.
Okay.
It's about taking responsibility
for ourselves.
For ourselves and our own well-being and creating a healthier legacy for our children.
You know, it's funny you say that because my mom went through like a huge healing journey when I was younger. And it completely transformed our relationship.
That's amazing.
And I think it really helped me be a better parent, too.
That makes sense.
Like I was able to break
the cycle?
The cycle. So how do we heal?
Well, the first step is awareness.
Okay.
Becoming aware of those patterns that we've inherited. That's the first step.
Okay.
And then it's about understanding how those patterns are showing up in our lives.
Okay.
And then we can start to make conscious choices to do things differently.
So it's not easy.
No, it's not easy.
But it's possible.
It is possible.
And she uses a great analogy.
Oh, I love her analogies.
In the book.
What is it?
She compares it to being lost in the woods.
Oh, okay.
You have to retrace your steps to figure out
how you got lost.
How you got off track.
To find your way back.
I love that.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And you know, we're all works in progress. Even the most well-intentioned parents are going to make mistakes. Right. It's about approaching ourselves and our children with compassion.
And a willingness to grow.
And a willingness to grow.
I like that.
It's a journey.
It is.
Not a destination.
So true.
And the good news is Eli Harwood offers a ton of practical guidance in the book for putting all of these principles into action.
I can't wait to hear more.
Me too.
We're going to take a quick break and then come back.
Awesome.
And dive into some of those specifics.
Sounds good. Welcome back to our deep dive on secure attachment.
We were talking about how important it is to...
build that foundation?
Yeah, to build that foundation.
And how even if we didn't have it ourselves,
Right.
we can create it for our kids.
I love that concept of earned secure attachment.
It's so empowering.
It really is.
And it reminds us that, like,
we can always...
it's never too late to
Totally
grow and change.
So true.
Speaking of growth, let's circle back to the idea of nurturing self-confidence in kids.
Okay.
Because I know that's a big one for a lot of parents.
It is.
And Eli Harwood has some really interesting insights about this.
What does she say?
Well, for one thing, she challenges this idea that's become really popular
About what?
about teaching kids to self-soothe.
Oh, okay.
You know, like just kind of letting them cry it out
Right.
and figure things out on their own.
But she doesn't agree with that.
Not entirely.
Okay.
She argues that it's not about suppressing emotions.
Right.
It's about providing them with the co-regulation they need
To process their feelings.
to process their feelings effectively. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier.
About babies needing their parents to be their prefrontal cortex.
Exactly.
It's
Like
very-
literally,
It's like we're their external prefrontal cortex.
It's so wild.
I know, right?
Okay, so how do we provide co-regulation?
well, she emphasizes the importance of mirroring emotions.
What do you mean?
So showing them that we recognize and validate what they're feeling.
Oh, I see.
Like if they're sad,
We're sad with them.
not necessarily sad with them, but we acknowledge their sadness.
Okay.
We say things like, oh, honey, I see that you're feeling sad right now.
It's okay to feel sad.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
So it's about letting them know that their feelings are okay,
That their feelings matter.
that their feelings matter.
I like that.
And she talks about mirror neurons in the book.
What are those?
So mirror neurons are these amazing brain cells
They?
that fire both when we perform an action and when we observe someone else performing that action.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that cool?
That's fascinating.
So it's like our brains are literally wired for empathy.
That's incredible.
I know, it's pretty amazing.
Okay, so when we mirror our children's emotions back to them,
It helps them feel seen and understood.
like we get it.
We get it.
I see you.
Yes, exactly.
And she also talks about attunement.
Yes, attunement is so important.
What is it?
So attunement is the ability to accurately perceive and respond to a child's emotional cues.
Like being in tune with them.
Exactly.
Okay.
And she contrasts this with misattunement,
Right.
which is when we either overreact or dismiss a child's emotions.
I think I've done both.
Probably most of us have at some point.
Yeah.
But the problem with misattunement is that it disrupts a child's ability to regulate their emotions effectively.
So they don't learn how to deal with their feelings.
Right.
So what can we do to improve our attunement?
Well, she suggests that the first step is to become more aware of our own emotions.
So self-awareness.
Yes, self-awareness is key.
Okay.
Because when we're aware of our own triggers and patterns, we're less likely to react unconsciously.
We can respond with intention.
Exactly.
Instead of just reacting.
So it's like doing our own inner work.
Yeah.
So that we can show up for our kids in a more attuned way.
I like that.
And it also involves paying close attention to our children's nonverbal cues.
Like their body language.
Yeah. Their body language, their facial expressions, their tone of voice.
Oh, okay.
Because those things can tell us a lot about how they're feeling.
Even if they don't have the words to express it.
Exactly.
And one thing she talks about that I thought was really interesting
What's that?
is that we shouldn't try to maintain a neutral expression when a child is upset.
Oh, yeah. That's a common misconception.
Yeah.
People think we should be, like, calm and neutral. But she actually suggests that showing empathy and mirroring their emotions can actually help them calm down.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of counterintuitive.
It is.
But think about it. When a child sees us reflecting their distress,
Yeah.
it communicates that their emotions are safe with us,
That we can handle it.
that we can handle it.
I see.
We're not going to freak out.
We're not going to get overwhelmed.
Exactly.
So it creates a sense of safety
It does.
for them to experience their emotions
Yes.
without feeling judged or rejected.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
And this brings us to another big one, anger.
Oh, boy.
Anger is a tough one for a lot of parents.
It is.
But Eli Harwood emphasizes that anger is not inherently bad.
Okay.
It's a natural human emotion.
It is.
And it often signals that a need isn't being met.
Or a boundary's been crossed.
Yeah, exactly.
So how should we handle it then?
Well, instead of reacting with our own anger,
Which I'm guilty of.
I think we all are sometimes.
Yeah.
We can respond with curiosity and empathy. We can ask ourselves, where's the hurt? Where's the fear? What's triggering this reaction?
That's a good point.
So it's about shifting from a reactive stance to a more inquisitive one.
To a more understanding one.
Yes.
Okay.
And this allows us to move beyond simply managing behavior.
And get to the root of the problem.
Which
is their need.
Yes.
That makes sense.
And it also involves modeling healthy coping mechanisms ourselves.
So we have to be the example.
We do.
Okay.
She tells this really sweet story in the book.
What is it?
About her son, who after a day of having a lot of meltdowns came up to her and said, "Mommy, I need some TLC."
Oh my gosh.
It's so cute.
That is adorable.
And it just shows how much kids learn by observing us.
They're always watching.
They're always watching.
So if we can show them how to navigate challenging emotions in a healthy way,
they're more likely to do the same.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
So we're creating a family culture.
Yes.
Where vulnerability is okay.
Where emotions are normalized.
Emotions are okay.
Yes.
And we can talk about them.
We can talk about them.
I like that.
So let's move on to another important topic.
What's that?
Conflict resolution.
Ooh, conflict.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
It is.
Especially with kids.
But how do we handle it?
Well, Eli Harwood stresses the importance of understanding our own conflict histories.
Our own baggage.
Our own baggage, exactly.
Right.
Because those past experiences can really shape how we react in the present.
So we might be bringing unresolved issues into our interactions with our kids. And we don't even realize it.
We might not even realize it.
Okay, so what can we do about that?
Well, the first step is awareness.
There's that word again.
I know, right? It's all about awareness.
Okay.
So becoming aware of those ingrained patterns.
Those automatic responses.
Yes.
That might not be serving us well.
And then we can start to make conscious choices to do things differently.
Okay.
And she also encourages parents to adopt what she calls a discovery mindset.
A discovery mindset.
When conflicts arise.
What does that mean?
So a discovery mindset involves approaching disagreements with curiosity.
Curiosity.
And a genuine desire to understand each other's perspectives.
Oh, so it's not about winning.
It's not about winning.
It's about understanding.
It's about understanding.